also like to welcome Mr. Roman Lauš, who is a founding member of Future Board, but apart from that, he recently launched, together with his wife, a company called QnA. Roman is working on cultured meat, as well as Vitor that you've heard previously, and he's one of the very few who actually attend this in Central and Eastern Europe. QnA should, according to Roman, let me quote, bring healthy meat without killing animals and our planet. So as this segment is a lot about sustainability and eco-friendly solutions, let me say that his cultured meat would save over half the energy and 90% of the land used, as well as 90% greenhouse gas emissions compared to regular meat production. Kamila, Roman, please come on stage. Thank you for joining us now. Roman Lauš. Take a seat. Kamila, are you a vegetarian or even a vegan?
I'm vegetarian and I used to be vegan, but I also have to say I'm not extremist. So if my daughter leaves something on the plate, I finish it, better than to waste it.
Lovely. Roman, do you only wear sustainable clothes?
Not yet.
Not yet. Are you going to, after what you've just heard from
Slowly. I will really definitely be more aware. Actually, it was very beneficial to hear.
Can you swear that I would really not be able to tell the difference between your lab-grown meat and the meat that I'm used to?
I don't swear much, but...
But for today?
No, generally what you could see in Vitor's presentation when they were doing this testing in Singapore, and they've been, tastings all around the world, because as you heard, there are many companies. The taste of the meat we will produce, and some of the companies start to produce, is basically the meat. You make meat from meat. This is also very important to understand, because most of people, when you say it's a cultivated or cultured meat, most of the people think of Beyond Burger or Impossible Foods, which are basically alternative, which are plant-based.
Because that's what we already know, so it's natural that we have this reflex.
But here you have to mimic actually everything from scratch, because it's a plant. But here, what we do, and what most of the companies do, that you basically take a sample of the animal, you take, through biopsy, or you take umbilical cord, or there are also several other possibilities, and then you create meat from meat, if I'm very brief. So if I want to swear, I can assure you that you would not find a difference. And the technology is getting, better and better, and it's not only about proliferating the cells in the lab, it's also the whole food science behind, that the taste is as we know it.
And that's also what we saw in Vitor's presentation earlier, with all the percentage in the polls.
It was 54 people said it was the same, and of course there is still room for improvement. It's not there yet, but the industry is moving forward very fast.
You've said, Kamila, that you sacrificed everything for your values. Can you be more specific? What did you have to give up?
Well, to start with my career, right? Like I wanted to, and I moved to fashion to work at, I moved to Paris to work in fashion, and this is where I finally realized, like, I cannot work in fashion, right? So this is the career. Let's count with it the corporate salary. So let's say like few years on an existential total minimum, and it goes on even with my close people in my life that don't understand what I'm doing, or they are really not happy about what I'm saying, and so yeah, it really moved to on like a personal level, to a lot of sacrifices. Yeah, I would maybe even count the fact, like my ex-partner, who is the father of my child, that the values we didn't share were maybe part of the reason why we are not together anymore. So yeah, some sacrifices were made, yeah.
Okay, so sustainability and being attached to it can mean not so sustainable relationships anymore. That's good to know, but it's a risk.
No, I think it's about
we may be taking.
Creating the real ones, It's being true to yourself.
Right. Roman, what is the most common reaction you encounter? The most common reactions you get when you speak about this new project of yours in the Czech Republic, let's say, when you speak to people your generation, we Czechs usually are attached to meat. We not we, Czech men of your generation used to love places where they get a good beer with a good, piece of meat. So what's their most common reaction?
Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, people still love meat, and it was also one of the decision I made, because I understood I cannot become vegan, but if I want to make change, actually this is the way. So this is also one of my motivation to start. And when I talk to people, there is a lot of unknowns. People, are a little bit scared at the beginning that this is the food from lab. How could we trust it? And what I really love throughout this journey we started is that it will be a lot about changing the mindset of people to understand that this meat, it's cleaner, it's healthier, and on top, you don't have to kill animals for it. So there were many, surveys, and they said if you don't say anything, most of the people would say maybe 20-25% would agree that they would try it. And if you explain what is behind, 60 to 70% says, of course I would take it.
It also depends on who explains it to them and how.
Exactly. So this is also a big part of the movement which is happening now.
Right. Now, I would love to know whether our audience is more progressive than myself, because as I've said before, I admit I never heard about food lab when it comes to real meat. So if we can make a little poll in this room, who already heard about this before today? Oh, so more than half of the people, or about half of the people. Good for you. Oh, Martin Holečko also did. Good. The two of you know each other, right? I would love to do the same poll with our partner schools, whom I would love to give room and the opportunity to ask our eminent speakers. So, who has already heard about lab-grown meat before this conference? Please raise your hands.
Wow.
So some did.
Here, I mean, this
Židlochovice. They all work in your lab, right?
Not yet. Okay, I will come.
Interns. Perfect. So how about Gymnasium Židlochovice asks a question? Roman and Kamila are waiting for it, so am I. I'm actually sorry we don't give you more room than that, but the time is our enemy, and I think somebody's ready in Židlochovice.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I would like to ask you about the energy needed for producing this type of meat.
All right. So, of course, this is, I don't know if you remember the Vitro slides, but it's 90% less land, 90% less water, but 50% less energy. Because, of course, you need, if you have these huge bioreactors, of course, they need a lot of energy. But the whole energy cycle and the whole energy industry is actually moving to be much more greener and much more sustainable. So along the time, it will probably go into 70, 80% more efficiency. So, of course, you need energy, but definitely, at least nowadays, 50% less as the conventional meat.
Next question from our partner schools. Anyone, raise your hand. We do have you on a big screen here, so we shouldn't miss it. Because this was so interesting, I have plenty of questions myself, but I think you could use the opportunity and... Židlochovice again? Uh-huh. So it's for you then. Hello, young man.
Base material you use for the growing food, for growing meat.
What?
How many years before we get it on the table? Did I get that correctly? Because the sound was far from ideal. Was that the question?
No, I asked
No.
what's the base material. What do you make the meat from?
What do you make the meat from?
What do you make the meat from?
Is it the same technology as what we've heard
from the
before?
animal, actually. You take a muscle you have a biopsy from the animal, and basically you grow the cells in lab, right?
Oh, London School of Economics and Political Science has raised a hand.
Oh, there.
And that means we will love to hear from you.
Hello, thank you very much. We were wondering to ask what is your opinion on high fashion industry and its impact on sustainability in general? Thank you.
I guess that's a question for Kamila.
Probably. High fashion, you mean like a premium, like a luxury?
Couture, maybe?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That's to say not prêt-à-porter, which is the other branch, right? So the catwalk kind of fashion.
Yeah, so basically, even this segment of the market is totally losing its original purpose, I would say, because luxury is a segment of the market that is leading. This is the most innovative that we look up to and we mimic. When recently we hear that these houses are mimicking fast fashion. They are dreaming about their supply chain. They were in the past years like adding a lot of new collections, totally like speeding up and mimicking the fast fashion. Now I heard first houses are saying that they are going back to the 4 collections a year, which is already like good. There used to be 2, 4 would be already good because we have much more in the fast fashion system. But basically, today the situation is that the majority of this high fashion, of these luxury houses, are still businesses. It has not much to do with fashion. It's all about how can we sell more. And there's not much difference, unfortunately. Where we can look for inspiration are the brands that I'm saying that they are led by activists. Like Osklen is a Brazilian luxury brand that the founder is really he was going to Rio and spoke like people who really, with their heart, care about planet and people and our future, and they are using fashion as a tool to work on their mission. So it would be Osklen, it would be like smaller independent designers and projects. There are plenty in the world. There is Les Récupérables in Paris, but I would definitely look more for people than for big labels that are owned by big conglomerates. And this is their frame.
Thank you, Kamila. And this will be the last opportunity for our partner schools to address one of our speakers or both of them. Again. Oh, Borg, Novi Borg has raised a hand. You're very active today.
Hi, hello. I would like to ask, can you hear me?
Yes, we do. We can hear you, yes.
I would like to ask Kamila how she would like to make it sustainable for major clothing brands, for H&M, Zara, and major clothing brands around the world.
Beautiful. Thank you for the question. Well, all these companies, and I'm sure you've heard about it, they have their programs, and it's often linked with the term greenwashing, which means you are saying much more about how green you are, but you are not really walking the walk. It's like the storytelling, but the story doing is missing. And at the same time, like I have a total respect for every step they are taking, however they are talking about it. I really applaud all these big structures to try to move to something more sustainable. But if you're really looking at the rhetorics they have, it is not really, it is really even opposite in what they are saying. But they are doing great things, like take-back programs, like recycled materials, like transparency, you know, publishing the list of their factories and all that. But the human aspect is still there, where I see the meaningful fashion system is really more in staying more local, sharing the clothes locally, supporting the brands that locally solve the system, that create locally. In Prague, we are organizing Slow Days. Emma, she knows it. She was there this last season. And this is where it's like a hub of all the mostly local companies that are upcycling, making like beautiful collections out of textile waste. You can see this in like Christopher Rayburn, who is the designer, presented at London Fashion Week, and he is doing incredible collections out of textile waste. So it's really more about these big structures. They are there, but they will obey us. It's a customer-centered marketing. They will give us what we want. That's why I started lately working much more with public and inspiring public and leading this, what I call values revolution. Because if we show more of the interest and we want local, we want upcycled, we want to swap, this is what we value, this is what we want, and then the change is going to happen automatically. They cannot sell you something you don't want, right?
I guess Roman would agree with that, even when it comes
definitely.
to lab-made meat. So yes, it will be a good business for you once people will want it, because you'll be able to provide it on a larger scale. Thank you so much to both of you. I will still ask you one last question, because I ask everyone. What was the dream you had as a child when it comes to technology that is already reality? Roman?
Yeah, I remember. I was like maybe 8 or 9. I was drawing a lot of sketches about the game where we could just live. Something like Second Life happened afterwards. And what I have seen, and you will also see today, I think I had also this idea that it would be so great to live in other metaverse for a while. And if you look what's happening now, I could not imagine, I mean, as a child, even as an adult, what is happening at the moment. So this was my memory from childhood.
Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know yet what metaverse is, but I suspect you do, we will be talking about that later on, and I'm very much looking forward. Kamila, what about you?
Well, as a child, I didn't have dreams about technology, but maybe when I was age of the students that are here with us today, I was dreaming that I don't have to go to school, I can be at home and have the classes online. Which is absolutely pathetic in these COVID times. Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty. And I think today everyone's happy to be in school, because being in school means being with us.